So, kind of starting with your teaching history, kind of how you got into education and just kind of your start.
Yeah, so I started actually as a parent educator. So I started in the early childhood sector, and mostly because I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. And then as we transitioned and moved to the Northeast Missouri area, I started teaching in Novinger. Taught there for a little while, and then our kids were attending Kirksville, so transferred to Kirksville. Started teaching at Ray Miller Elementary in 5th grade. Spent a few years there, and then from there stepped into administration. Was the assistant principal, we called it parent coordinator then at Ray Miller, and then the assistant principal at middle school. I went over there for a while, and then I was at the primary school as principal for 10 years, and then came here to central office as assistant superintendent for 10 years now. So.
And then you're coming here as
yeah.
So, what are you kind of bringing to your new position as far as the skills of taking on superintendent? What are you bringing to superintendent?
I feel like a perspective that I feel so grateful that I've been able to gain in all those positions. You know, you look at the district, you look at things a little bit differently. If you're a teacher or a principal or even a parent, our own children went through this district, and so I also have that perspective. And even now as a grandparent, I have grandchildren here, and so I think that perspective helps in a lot of situations. Sometimes we get a little tunnel vision if you just look at a project or a goal or even an academic program. If you look at it, you know, through one lens, it's looking a little bit different than it might someone else's. So grateful that I've had all those opportunities here in this district. I think that's somewhat unique, and so I think I will bring a different perspective to a lot of situations based on my background and experience.
What are some of the big projects or some of the problems that you're taking over from Robert, the previous superintendent?
Wow, so for the projects, if you drove around our campus, you can see one of the biggest bond projects in the history of the district, really. We've got a lot of work happening right now. We're building the Performing Arts Center. We are remodeling our high school. Right now we've got ceilings out, tiles up. We're putting a front facelift on Ray Miller Elementary, so lots of projects happening. And that's kind of really one of the motivations for me to step into this position is I really want to see those projects through and I want to see them done well. And we're off to a great start with that. But those are the big building campus projects, which is super exciting. And beyond that, I think our reading and math scores are not where we want them to be. Mm-hmm. We have great scores, we have great teachers, but we want to be even better. Pride through excellence, you know, is what we talk about here in the district. And so that's my other motivator, is just to work with. We have a great team of teachers and administrators, and just to continue to work with them and get our scores where we want them to be.
Okay, and that kind of answered my next question, the fact that you seem very excited to take these projects on.
I am excited just because I believe this community has been really a great place to work in when it comes to public education, because education is really valued in this community. And so I know at any given time I can reach out to any civic organization or club or even just individuals in this town that support education. So when it comes to getting projects done or reaching our reading math goals, there are just so many opportunities here. And so it is exciting to know that you've got all those cheerleaders here in Kirksville area. We have our challenges, like any school district, you know, tough days. Administrators, teachers face really tough things and sometimes don't feel supported. But we do know when we reflect that there's a lot of support in this community for public education. And so it is exciting. You know, it's an honor to be in this position and to know that that support is there. So many people that reach out and say, whatever you need, you know, whatever the district needs, whatever kids need, just call. And I know that to be true from my experience here.
That's always good to have.
Yeah, it makes all the difference.
Yeah. So kind of zooming in a little bit, one of the things that Superintendent Webb put into effect was a cell phone restriction, kind of a, you know, start of the day to the end of the day. Gotta have your phones in your lockers, kind of stuff like that. Are you going to keep that in place? Are you going to kind of revise it or anything like that? Or are you pretty confident about what it is right now? Yeah,
so I give credit to our high school administrators. They were really the ones that stepped into that first and just have had nothing but success with that. There's some bumps in the road in the beginning. It took some getting used to, but even our students would tell you now that it's been a great thing for them. So absolutely we want to keep that in place. Our middle school has adopted the same thing. And actually we were a little bit ahead of some legislation that now is not going to give districts a lot of choice if that gets signed off on. So yeah, absolutely. We believe in that policy and it's benefited our students.
And you're ahead of the curve.
We think we are, yeah.
So are you still working? Another thing that is big here that we've been focusing on recently is the lunch debt that's been kind of on and off and on, or all over the place. Are you still working on reducing that?
Yes, so when we kind of went public with that, we had so many individuals that stepped up and donated money, and actually just finished a meeting here with our food service director, and we've decided our strategy, right or wrong, is what we're going to do. We need people to fill out free and reduced lunch applications. That would help support them so much. So we've got some incentives in place. We have some free t-shirts that we're going to have available for the first families that can get that form filled out this summer. So some incentives to get them to fill out that form. And as a district, what we just talked through is zeroing their balance. If they'll fill out that form for us this year, we're going to move forward, because a lot of families are carrying some pretty heavy balances that they can't pay or just have not made an effort to pay. So we're going to talk through getting that communicated to families. If we can get them to fill out that free and reduced lunch form, whether they qualify or not, if they'll fill it out, that would help. And then we'll zero their balance and we'll start fresh from there. And that will help us to know what kind of support they need.
Good. So kind of a sidebar, what can parents do to do that, to sign up for the free and reduced?
Parents can fill it in right there. It's an electronic application. They can fill it out, be done. If they want to do a paper application, we'll have those here at central office as well as in the buildings. If they prefer that, then they can fill it out. They're done. And I would recommend that. That way when it's back to school open house night, they don't have to worry about it. It's all filled out.
Okay, so one of the big questions that I got from a lot of people was that mental health is a big setback for students really wanting to excel. You got students that have maybe problems at home or just stress in general. How would you want to combat that, and maybe who would you want to work with?
So I think this week was a prime example of that. There's some grant funds. It's through an organization called Upstream. We had probably 45 to 50 members of this community sitting together. It was actually out at the Moose Lodge for 2 days, and we trained together, and we left that with some action plans to put in place. And so there were 3 top priorities that we came up with together, and this was juvenile office, school district, Mark Twain, preferred, children's division, all the agencies you can think of in town that are battling this on their own, really with just an emphasis on we can do more if we'll work together. And so Upstream is really about putting those resources in place before kids end up in the courts or kids end up in a mental health crisis. And so I think the next step then is to make sure that we follow through with that. Because we know, like I said, together we can do more for these families and these kids, because it's not usually one situation that a student's dealing with, it's multiple things, and it's probably a situation in their family as well. So work started this week. Obviously we have work going all the time. We already have a partnership with Preferred and Mark Twain. We have people in our schools. But it's a constant battle, and I think together, I think we're off to a good start here with the notion that together we can do a lot more. So just really spending some time this summer building those partnerships and getting on track to work together.
Okay. And then backing out again, what is your kind of general teaching philosophy that you might bring to the superintendent's desk?
Wow, it's been a bit since I've been in the classroom as a teacher. I don't think it changes. I think whether you're a teacher in our district, you might be a paraprofessional, you might be a bus driver, you might be the superintendent, but I think just remembering it's about kids. If you don't have that relationship with kids, and really for an administrator with families, it doesn't matter. You can have the best programs, you can have the most researched practices, the most skilled people in place, the greatest budget, we've got a lot of those things in place, but if you don't build a relationship with kids, it doesn't matter. Attendance really is part of that as well. If you don't have kids here, you can have all of those things and it doesn't matter. So that's going to be a goal for us as well. But my philosophy really as a teacher and as an educator in general, whether it be in administration or whatever, is about relationships. I think those have to be in place before anything else can happen.
Good. And then kind of a question that popped up. This is the last question.
Okay.
And it was kind of hard to put this into words, but how do you want the students, the staff, administrators, how do you want everybody to know you as? That's
a great question. I think as they have really for the last 25 years. as somebody that if they have a problem or they have an issue, it doesn't matter what office I'm in or how available I might be, I will make time for them. And it doesn't matter if it's a teacher or bus driver or it's, a parent that's struggling with some things going on for their kid in their classroom, or if it's a kid. Talked to a lot of middle school kids yesterday about, summer school and the fun they're having over there. So I just want them to know that I'm available. It's my duty, responsibility to make sure that every kid here has a good experience and learns, and that's my job, and I will always make time for that. So that's what I would want them to know.
Very good. Anything else you want to add?
No, we are just super excited for the school year when it starts in August and our projects that are going on, and just grateful to this community for the support and the value that they place on public education.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.